Jake Paul would not be who he is today without KSI. Jake Paul has been making a name for himself in the boxing world over the last couple of years, gathering a record of 6-0 as a professional boxer with viral knockouts over the likes of Nate Robinson and Tyron Woodley, as well as a big win against MMA legend Anderson Silva. This was a very sudden change in career path for Jake Paul, as not too long ago he was all over YouTube invading the platform with daily vlogs, diss tracks, and more. Doing this, he gained a reputation for being one of the most hated influencers out there for his loud, brash persona and overall cringe content. So how was Jake Paul able to go from being one of the most controversial figures on the internet to now being one of the most polarizing figures in combat sports? Well, it all started with KSI. Back in 2018, KSI starred in the first YouTube boxing event against Joe Weller, and this was innovating YouTube content to participate in a physical sport and starting the YouTube boxing scene, with KSI eventually calling out both Jake and Logan Paul at the end of the night. This eventually led to the debut of the Pauls in boxing, where we saw the Paul brothers take on the Olatunji brothers in summer of 2018. After beating Deji by 5th round stoppage, Jake started to campaign to fight KSI, which after KSI beat Logan in their rematch the following year, Jake sought out for revenge. KSI was Jake's main motivation and the reason he started training so hard in the sport of boxing, taking on KSI's friend and former sparring partner Anisong Gibb at the start of 2020. After making a statement by getting Gibb out of there in the first round, the pandemic hit where Jake really caught the boxing buzz. He started training hard and really being active in the sport, getting another win over Nate Robinson in late 2020, after which he would call out KSI yet again, still using him as main motivation, training as hard as possible to get revenge for his brother.
Listen, stop making it about the money, KSI. Let's get the fight happening. You're scared, bro. I know you are. I'm a real dog. I just became the biggest prize fighter overnight. Feels good to be on the A side. It's gonna happen, so just sign the contract, bro.
This was then followed by Jake having 3 more fights in 2021, 1 over Ben Askren and 2 over Tyron Woodley, which was where we saw Jake transitioning from wanting KSI to having new goals in the sport of boxing, as instead of KSI, he started calling out guys like Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz, Jorge Masvidal, and other big money fights as he was taking his boxing career seriously, going full-time and becoming dedicated to boxing, pushing for the biggest possible opportunities and fights out there. Since then, KSI has put boxing off for a while before eventually coming back and the reverse pretty much happening to him. They kind of switched roles as KSI was now using Jake Paul as his sole motivation, fighting different opponents and climbing up the ladder, to eventually fight Jake and using him as the ultimate goal, making his return in 2022, fighting 2 fights in one night and just last month knocking out FaZe Temper in the first round. Within the last couple of months, KSI and Jake Paul have verbally come to an agreement for a 2023 matchup that is hopefully slated for December of this year if everything goes to plan. But in terms of the Pauls in boxing, Jake's brother Logan Paul has openly discussed how KSI saved his career by originally calling him out to a boxing match, with him being able to leverage that as a turning point in his career.
People joke, they go, KSI saved your career, right? Because you gave me a chance to box twice, and really make a name for myself and earn respect in a different way and show my character, my real character. It gave me an opportunity to literally start my potential redemption by fighting my way back.
Yeah.
I'll always be grateful for it. And then years later, I was able to bring him an opportunity called Prime Hydration.
With Logan saying that he got the opportunity to fight his way out of the whole YouTube controversy and drama at the time, Jake has openly talked about how it is the same way for him when he had this conversation with Ryan Garcia back in 2019.
What I was saying is why am I waking up every single day to film YouTube videos that are just getting me in trouble, getting me in lawsuits? I have 4 lawsuits from filming YouTube videos, when I can do something I loved waking up and doing that pushes me mentally to a place that I haven't ever been before, and I have fun doing it, and it's entertaining, and it makes even more money.
It's obvious that this was really the turning point in Jake Paul's career, transitioning from a YouTuber to becoming a professional boxer and taking boxing 100% seriously from here on out. Since then, Jake has talked about how he feels that boxing has reshaped his career, going as far as to say that boxing saved his life and let him get out of the power-hungry vlogging lifestyle that he was living in at the time.
Y'all remember when he was back at the Team 10 house, spray painting garages and lighting on fire and climbing up news vans? What a turn of events, man.
But it is surreal, man. All this is crazy, and boxing saved my life. I would probably be dead or in jail, doing that in Los Angeles. It was not a good lifestyle, and boxing pulled me out of that
and gave me this hope and gave me this light, and that's why I want to share the sport with the rest of the world.
So Jake claims that without boxing, he would probably be dead or in jail, which is crazy to say, but considering the obsession that came with his old content, to constantly one-up and outdo the last craziest next thing, it was pretty much bound to get to a point where things were going to get messy one way or another. At the end of the day, however, it was up to Jake Paul to really put everything into action, putting all of his eggs in one basket in terms of boxing and go full throttle with it, where he was able to work his way up to the point where he is today, slowly increasing his competition to build a reputation for himself in combat sports and getting his name out there, as he's done that pretty well with the boxing audience, MMA audience, as well as obviously the YouTube boxing audience where he started. But KSI, whether intentionally or not, is the originator that started this whole journey, life path, and new career for Jake Paul. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on KSI and Jake Paul's progressions and journey so far in boxing, obviously eventually leading up to that eventual KSI versus Jake Paul fight, which will hopefully go down this year. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video and you enjoyed my content, be sure to let me know by leaving a like and subscribing to the channel, as I'm sure to be bringing you more content soon.